Welcome to Alpha Wolf Capital. I'm Tim, and I want to personally thank you for stopping by. This channel is designed to help small companies, both public and private, gain exposure with potential consumers, investors, even partners. Take, for example, today's guest, Kjirstin Breure from Hydrograph Clean Power. Hydrograph is without question a impact company. For you, those of you that follow me know I look for companies that can have a positive impact on humanity. And this company, without question, can have a positive impact on humanity through so many verticals. Graphene is once called the wonder material. And the problem has always been the inability to scale the production of graphene and maintain purity level. Well, Hydrograph has solved that problem, and they are able to make 99.8% pure graphene consistently. This is an impact company. I'm going to let Kjirstin tell you more about that in just a moment. This is not to be taken as investment advice. I am not a certified financial planner. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. I encourage everyone to do their own due diligence. Hey, everybody. Tim from Alpha Wolf Capital coming at you with a long overdue follow up story, but it hasn't because it's been out of mind. It's actually on the forefront of my mind quite often. Hydrograph, clean energy power. Is that what it is? Clean
Power.
energy. Yeah. Uh, Kjirstin Breure, one of my favorite CEOs, a rising star. And Kjirstin, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, Tim.
It's good to see you again.
Likewise.
Uh, you've had a lot that has happened. Um, you've had some movement on the board level. You have some man. I think what do you got going right now? You got textiles. You've got battery terminals or the cathodes, right? You've got what was you just announced yesterday or the day before?
The compounding program.
Yes, I mean you have all of these things
Mhm.
being announced, right? You've got you've announced that you're moving to Texas, and
Mhm.
you've got a supplier of gas that you're. Have you finalized that yet? The
We are very close to finalizing that. It's obviously an important agreement, so lots of
okay,
back and forth with legal, but we're close.
okay.
Mhm.
So you've got that going on. You've got it sounds like a new design for the chambers.
Mhm.
Um, you're busy, 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 huh?
We are. We're extremely busy.
So you've got you have this relationship with the geek, which
Mhm.
is the Institute for Graphene, right? That's been studying what applications can you do with graphene for the last like 20 years. And is that go ahead?
It's been around a little bit less. So graphene was discovered 20 years ago at the University of Manchester, but this innovation hub, so to speak, it's probably been in existence for just shy of 10 years.
Oh, just shy of 10 years. Okay. So they're a little behind the curve then.
They're the best. We love our relationship with the geek.
So that relationship and that is accredited to you, right? Because you actually started providing your graphene for free
Mhm.
to the institute to get yourself in the door, right?
Well, when we joined, I gave them 20 kilos for free, which was, I think, not done before. And that's, I guess, because Hydrograph is not shy. We wanted them to learn about our graphene, and we were very comfortable to have that really publicly available, I guess, even in those channels. And we were told that we performed very, very well. So I think that was a good decision on our part.
I think it was a pretty good strategic decision. I would say that was probably one of the better ones, right?
Mhm.
Uh, and what you've discovered, so you, graphene is an interesting thing, right? So one of the things that was I guess thought was that sheets of graphene was really the way to go. And just real quick, in case somebody's new to the Hydrograph story, can you explain exactly how it is that you come up with your 99.8% pure graphene?
Sure. So we have a patented detonation synthesis process where we have all hydrocarbons covered under our patent, but we predominantly use acetylene and oxygen. So we pump in these gases into a steel chamber. We have electrodes within the chamber that fire. In synchrony, it effectively destabilizes the molecules, and all of the carbon that was in the gas gets crystallized. So if you imagine kind of a puff of smoke crystallizing, that's really what our graphene is. And then our exhaust is syngas because the oxygen and hydrogen have to go somewhere. So we believe it's the purity of our feedstock and the temperature that we achieve that really gives us a superior product. And to your point, even when we joined the Geek, current literature, it was really thought that larger flakes would perform better for mechanical benefits. And we completely upended that by proving with our very, very small flakes, truly nanoscale, 20 to 50 nanometers, that we vastly outperform larger flakes. So that was an exciting moment, I think, for us. And we believe the mechanism behind that is nucleation. We're really rapidly accelerating nucleation within materials.
That is so fascinating to me, but in a way it makes total sense, right? And then when you start looking at the application, so one of the things that you have found is that with your graphene, because of that purity level, you don't have to use as much as some of these other graphenes that are out there.
Exactly. And at risk of repeating myself, it's not just about purity, it's really also about crystallinity. True graphene is 100% crystalline, and also it has 100% sp2 bonding. And that's the difference between, for example, graphene and a diamond structure or acetylene black structure. You really need that sp2 bonding to have those nanomaterial traits. That's what gives us that chicken wire lattice.
Okay, so the so that was the new terminology that I heard you say the other day, the SP2, right? Have
Mhm.
no idea what the hell that is. I'm going to sound really smart later when I repeat it over and over again, but SP2 is actually, so what you're saying is that honeycomb
Yes.
pattern, that
Yes.
that's okay.
And most companies don't disclose the amount of sp2 bonding they have, and they also don't disclose the amount of crystallinity. So again, I would love it if people can do more due diligence on some of these other companies, but to my knowledge, we're the only company that really has the carbon content, the purity, the crystallinity, and the sp2 bonding all, exceptionally high. And again,
Is
crystallinity and sp2 bonding are both 100% for us.
that's what I 100. You can't get better than 100%. I don't think.
No, you certainly cannot.
So that to me is phenomenal, right? And these are things that you're like. When did you learn about the crystalline? Have you known that the whole time, or is that
We have known that the whole time. And I mean, part of this is you need that interaction between these different traits. And so that is really, again, what defines graphene. You have to have, for it to be real graphene, it must be crystalline, it must be sp2 bonded. I think for us, we assumed other companies had the same. And now that we've really learned more, it's really just not the case. And I think that comes down to the production processes that they're using and also their feedstocks.
okay? So we took a little break. It was an accident. My computer died, but it's back, and I think it was overwhelmed by everything that you were saying.
Could be.
So where were we? We were talking about what were we talking about? You were in the middle of something that was important too.
I think I was just explaining that there's more than just purity that really determines what is high quality graphene. And then
Yeah.
again, just to make a big point on crystallinity and sp2 bonding. If it's not 100% sp2 bonded graphene, then it's not real graphene.
So the sp2 bonding, what exactly? I mean, obviously it has something to do with the way that it bonds to a material, right?
So it's really the way the electrons are connected, so to speak. And so again, it's the sp2 bonding that gives us that chicken wire formation, which
Okay.
which is what graphene is. And again, acetylene black, carbon black, other carbon forms are going to be a different bonding there.
So let me ask you a question. I listened to you the other day, and you indicated that you can tweak the the graphene for certain applications,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's something you're still learning.
Oh no, we have I would say more than 10 graphene types in the lab. We have kind of an unlimited amount, but things that we've actively worked on with customers, it's very normal for us to make a graphene for a customer. So even to take it a step further, and again, we feel very comfortable to do this just with our understanding of our production process and our graphene. There's times when a customer might say, we want the specific surface area to be X and we want the conductivity to be Y. And we can really tailor it very, very close to what their request might be.
That's fascinating to me.
Hmm.
I mean, that is absolutely fascinating to me, right?
Hmm.
So, I mean, are there, do you foresee, I don't know, I guess adding additional compounds or components to what you do that changes? I mean, what are the limitations here? Maybe that's the better question to ask.
Um, I don't really, I mean, of course, there's limitation to everything, but on average, we have a lot of control. We can add different chemical groups. We can add carboxylic acid. We can add amines. There's really a huge variety of ways that we can make our graphene bond better. And as I mentioned, we can alter the surface area. We can alter the conductivity. We can dope graphene with different nanomaterials, even different metals. So there's a huge amount of variety that we plan to do. Of course, we patent everything as we discover it, but I really think the future, while graphene is the foundation, I think, of nanotechnology, the future will be all sorts of nanomaterials, and we have no intent to delay any innovation. Chris is prolific and he continues to discover with our scientific team at large because he's not a chemist himself. Of course, he's a physicist, but we're always continuing to discover new ways to do what we do best.
So, how many patents are you up to now, Kirsten? I mean,
And well, in terms of granted patents, we still have three because it is still a process. And then
okay.
I want to say nine are pending, and we have just applied for 10 or 11. And that honestly grows every month at this point.
So, when you are you filing just in the U.S. or are you filing internationally?
Internationally, we don't always select every country, but we absolutely select the countries that we're expecting to have a market share in.
Okay, okay. I mean, I love hearing that.
Mhm.
That the protection of your intellectual property is going to be, I think, at some point, a huge moat, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got, from what I understand from listening to a couple, you've been out there, you've been active, you're definitely telling the story, right?
Mhm.
You've gotten some. It sounds like you've gotten some pretty serious interest from the DoD in the U.S., and that certainly can't be a bad thing.
No, it's very exciting.
Now, I heard you. I think the question was asked about grants and
Mhm.
stuff like that. That's possible for you. There are programs that are out there that kind of align with where you are, right?
Mhm.
The minerals, critical minerals, is a big thing right now, and you not necessarily. Well, you are a critical mineral, but you're created in a lab, right? So, but you help other minerals, right? So that's
I think more and more graphene actually is being defined as a critical mineral. I mean, you can use it often in place of graphite. And again, if we add just a small amount to lithium, to copper, to gold, we're really going to improve those material properties. So even if we can just reduce, because we're often not going to replace, but if we can reduce our reliance on these other minerals and metals, it's a huge national security interest.
right. So you'd mentioned batteries, you mentioned energy storage. Um, are there any in the within the last since we last talked? Are there any new areas where you're finding out that graphene could play a big role in something that you really weren't anticipating before?
Um, Most of it is pretty much as we've expected, and that is in part just due to our commercial focus. We are very, very focused on composites and coatings, and again, we find a huge amount of interest from various customers in that regard. I think I've touched on this on, I think, most interviews, but the technical fiber area is really the fastest growing. And again, I think that energy storage is probably a close second just because the amount of benefit we can deliver for a very, very low cost is just outstanding. And the issue for Hydrograph is it just takes longer to commercialize, and we really want to see revenue as quickly as possible. So, with that in mind, again, plastics are much easier, both thermoplastics and thermosets. And the faster, of course, that we can deliver revenue, that opens up the door to, again, pursuing additional research with energy storage devices, with lubricants, with concrete.
You know, so I don't know if you've seen recently, but the solar panels that are supposed to last 25 years,
Mhm.
we're finding out that only last like 10 to 12 years, right?
Mhm.
Which is becoming a big problem because you have a bunch of people that are on 30-year leases of solar panels that were supposed to last 25 years.
Mhm.
And I see stuff like that and I think to myself, graphene's in some way has to be able to help solar panels last longer,
Mhm.
be
It
more.
absolutely can. I'm more keen on nuclear power, but solar certainly has a place, and graphene can deliver massive benefits in terms of efficiencies, certainly with the life cycle. I would say we don't have a huge amount of data. There could be customers that have purchased our graphene that are related to those industries in some way, but not to my immediate knowledge.
Okay. But I think, you know, if that is for somebody out there,
Mhm.
it might be worth pursuing, right?
Oh, absolutely. Mhm.
And I agree with you on nuclear. Actually, I think we need all sources of energy, right? I mean, oil and gas is going to be here for a long time to come.
Mhm.
Uh, we need them all. We should not be demonizing one or the other or any. I mean, we if it works, if it creates energy, let's use it, right? Because we need it. With especially with AI, AI and these data centers is going absolutely berserk, which is going to be a
Mhm.
huge thing, I think, for you at some
Yeah.
point.
Yes, we do have a lot of interest in these areas as well.
Okay. Um, how are you feeling about your capital structure right now?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm feeling good. I'm sure your viewers have noticed our momentum. We've picked up some, very loyal, aggressive shareholders. I think that the more we can move to people that are going to be long-term holders, the better. And again, we're seeing a huge amount of warrants come in for exercise. There is the tranche again that is expiring in September, worth about 3.3 million Canadian. But we're seeing warrants that are not associated with that tranche come in, of course, with this price movement. I think we're trading at what, 61 cents Canadian. And a lot
Yeah.
of these warrants are priced at 18 cents, 20 cents, and then there's a smaller round at 24 cents. And we're seeing all of the above come into play right now. So I think I'm feeling pretty confident we're going to be taking in significantly more than 3 million Canadian.
So you have publicly stated that at some point, I mean, you're looking to uplist to the Nasdaq, right?
Mhm.
At that time, when you do the uplist, I'm assuming there would be a consolidation of the stock.
Yes, and of course, we're hoping to have some announcements. We're hoping to have a bit of lift, so it's not so much of a rollback, but it would be very, very challenging to reach a $4 share price organically. And we don't want that to delay us. And I think that with proper communication around that, and again, hitting certain commercial milestones, I think that the market will be supportive.
So you've been in pilot programs for how long now? I mean, with some of these bigger opportunities.
Right. I mean, we're in lots of pilot every program, of course, starts with a kind of a lab scale or pilot and then moves to an industrial trial, which is the larger time allocation, and quite a few are now in that last phase, which will be entering contract negotiations. And that's a very exciting time. And to speak a little bit more, and I think I have previously as well, but the compounding program, just to explain that, that is really rapidly accelerating that development cycle for us because we basically can immediately jump to that industrial trial, especially when we have existing data. So the more we work with our graphene and the more we can teach these third parties to use our graphene, we are, significantly shortening that path to market. So by working with various compounders, and I can't say too much here, but there are quite a few groups that we're working with now that immediately have customers for us. And because we've skipped that first phase, we are already, almost at the point that we're going to be negotiating contracts with customers we've just found, I mean, in the past few months. And so that's extremely exciting for us because, the 18-month development cycle, it kind of sucks for materials, right? It's not a fun process, and it's so easy when you're working with very large customers for things to get delayed. And now that we have so many irons in the fire, things will be moving forward. And it's so difficult to say in a very, very early stage exactly which timing, exactly which customer, because, you know, each customer is going to have their own analysis on, what's best for them. And so now that we've reached this phase, it's going to be a very exciting time in the next few months.
What keeps you up at night?
I think it's really the same things. I feel very confident in our data. I'm extremely confident in our team, in the Hydrograph board. Very, very pleased with our progress, but it all comes down to execution. And I think I really need some assistance. I need very experienced people at my side. I need an experienced CFO as we're going to be moving, and growing. We basically have someone that's not completely full-time right now, and I'm going to need more support. I'm going to need a COO that has experience in building facilities all over the world, especially for large companies. And I think that while, I'm effective, I certainly have things I haven't experienced. And I think that's really the thing, is hiring these key people to advise and assist. And of course, just execution. It all comes down to that. And we have a number of challenges coming up. We have some very large facility plans. We have some very large potential contracts. And while this is an exciting time, we need to make sure that we're handling everything in the best way possible.
Right. So that is so. How far along are you on the Texas facility? I mean, you have the location picked out. You have the lease signed. I mean, where are you with that?
So they're a large company. As you can imagine, there's quite a lot of back and forth, and this is a long lease, and there's a lot that goes into this. There's also a purchase agreement for the acetylene. There is, the ground lease, there's the building design, there's the permits, there's so many regulatory pieces, and that's really what we're going back and forth on. I would say they're amazing to work with, very collaborative. We feel very strongly about this partnership. I believe we're close. I think that we should have it signed really in the next month. And then we will, of course, make that public, and we will initiate the groundbreaking on this greenfield project. So we're extremely excited to start.
Yeah, that so when you do get that established, right? How long will it take you to have? I mean, how many chambers are you looking to have initially, just as your startup?
So we are tentatively planning on between 3 and 5, and I'm saying tentatively, we would like a bit more clarity really just on our commercial ramp up. And I think that we will have a lot more of that clarity even by the end of the year. Again, these units can be built very quickly, so we might hear that we need 10 of them right away, but we don't have the intent to build far more than we need. We still need to be safe with our capital allocation. So there's a lot of nuance here, and I think that this is something that we're going to be constantly refining as we grow, because we don't need to spend more than we need to, but we also need to ensure that we have enough graphene to satisfy the demand that is really growing by the day.
What would you say to anybody that's watching that maybe isn't happy at their current position as a CFO or a COO that could lure them to actually decide to give you a shot?
Well, I love that question. If someone wants to move to Austin, I think that this is going to be a very high growth opportunity. And, you know, we should be, I think we will be the market leader in the graphene industry. And I think that if someone is interested in technology and wants to do something new scientifically, this is really the right field. And I hope that that is attractive to the right person. We're a very innovative company. I think, even our corporate culture, we're very collaborative, we're very scientific minded, if you will. And I think it's for the right person, I think it's a very refreshing work environment to be in. We're a very close team. And I hope that, if someone is in the Austin area and wants to reach out and they have that skill set that I'm requiring, I'm very
So
interested.
look, I would say, right, if you are familiar with the capital markets,
Mhm,
if you have some background there and you want to be part of a company that literally I think is going to change the world for the better
mhm,
in so many different ways that this would be look, you're not and I'm going to assume this. They're not going to be able to pay you a ton of cash because well, it's a startup for the most part, right? So, but if you have already done well and you really don't need the cash, there are other ways to be compensated that could be very rewarding down the road, right? So I think that this is an opportunity for somebody that wants to be part of something great when it's still something that is small. This is it, man. I just don't know. I don't know that you would find a better opportunity out there. So if you're watching this and you're not happy in your current role, reach out to Hydrograph. Or if you're watching this and know somebody that isn't happy in their current role, that would maybe have the skill set, right? So COO, CFO,
and
anybody
a ton
else?
of engineers. We need a ton of engineers. Mechanical, process, industrial. If you're an engineer, reach out. I would add just a slight refinement to that I do really believe that the board is fully supportive of paying market rates for people. We need the best people, and we certainly want people to feel appreciated in the Hydrograph team. So as we grow, and especially, this recent momentum we've had, that should open up a few doors for us. And we definitely plan to have people well compensated and absolutely appreciated. And I think that's for the better of everyone, including
Yeah.
our retail backers.
Look, I think anybody that's got any kind of vision that has any kind of slight understanding of what you're offering the world, they will they'll work with you, I would think, right? Because you want to
Mhm.
be part of something great. I mean, this is it. This is a great opportunity. So it's you probably didn't think this was going to be a job search
I'm here for it.
podcast.
Yeah.
But hey, we want great people there, right? We want really great people that see the vision and see what you're doing. I mean,
Hmm.
there was several interviews back when I asked you what makes you most excited about the company, and your response to me was, "This is going to sound, kind of goofy, but I really think we can make the world better, like
Hmm.
everything better." And when you said that, I got goosebumps. I literally got goosebumps because I believe that is, and I've gotten to know you a little bit better, and I know your relationship with the chief scientist, and I know you have a burning desire to get his name up in lights for his achievements. And
Yeah.
those are all really quality things that I just love about this story, right? So there are a lot of positive things here, and this is an opportunity for people that recognize that to get on board and help make it happen. That's what's cool, right? I mean, you can literally help make it happen. So if you if you want to help get them up to the Nasdaq and you know strengthen their core, right? Because that's what it would do. Right now, you're wearing how many hats?
All of them. I have an amazing team, but I am really overextended right now. I'm of course very pleased to have been moved to CEO. You know, we've made some changes to the board. I think we have, you know, fantastic directors. I have absolutely, I have great expertise and advice around me, but it's been very busy.
She needs some help,
I
people.
need some
She
help.
needs some help. All right. So if you think you have what it takes, reach out to Hydrograph. Yeah, Kjirstin, when should we have you back? When should we have you back? And is there anything you feel as though I've missed here?
No, I think this has been great. I think that we are working on a few things that we should have clarity on probably even by, let's say, the end of August, early September. Maybe we plan on having a follow-up around then.
All right. So I do want to talk about this chart action here because it's looking pretty good, right? It is. You know what? I got to change the color. It's because I have chromium on my backdrop, right?
Mhm.
Green doesn't show up, so you don't see the green candles right now. I'm gonna have to change that color. Hold on a second. Okay, we'll make the body. Let's go with light blue. Okay, there you go. Those candles were missing. That looks like a
Yeah.
little rocket ship right there. Let's see, 19.8 million shares. Is that what's traded hands? Is that today?
And if I could add, you know, we are not doing promotion. This was a surprise to Hydrograph, a very welcome surprise, but we have basically picked up some, as I mentioned, some very aggressive shareholders. I believe some of your audience may have seen some of the tweets on X.com from Kevin Bambro. But again, you know,
I'm
this
going
is
to reach out to
not
Kevin.
Hydrograph. We did not plan this. We have not done promotion on this. But thank you, Kevin, for your support.
No, I watched your podcast with him.
Mhm.
That's where I got some of this stuff, and yeah, he is definitely excited about graphene and what it has to offer, and I think he gets it. I think he really gets the opportunity that's in front of you, right?
Mhm.
I mean, this is a game changing. I think he said as long as he's been doing this, he's thinking 100 bagger. He's not thinking 10 bagger. He's thinking 100 bagger.
He's thinking 100 or more. So
Yeah.
he's just for everyone's clarity, you know, he's going to come to the Geek. He's going to meet with our scientists. He's going to speak with the Geek staff. He's going to confirm and verify, you know, everything we've been saying. I think he's also going to be visiting the Manhattan facility while it's open, just in advance of the Texas facilities open dates. And so, yeah, I guess if anyone's interested, I guess give him a follow. He's very, very vocal about his opinions, so you won't have to wonder.
In his background, he's in minerals and stuff. He's mining and stuff. He's done that in the past, right?
Mostly. So he's Canadian, private equity background, and that's quite common in Canada to have more of a metals and mining resource focus.
Yeah, it's awesome to see somebody with that much enthusiasm. I thought I was the only one. That it's funny listening to him talk about
Yeah.
when he tells people about graphene and hydrograph. Like
Hmm.
I can see his frustration and because he wants them to see what he sees, right, and
Yeah,
have the conviction that he has. And
exactly.
it's just impossible to get people to see it or feel it. They have to wait in their own way, figure it out, right? But he is pumped, and I can't wait to talk to him and see. I want to learn more about him, but he doesn't seem like it's hurting you to have this person as a shareholder.
I could not be happier with his support.
No, that's fantastic. So
Mhm.
we'll follow up with you when actually, you know my number. You can call me anytime at drop of a dime, and I will
Mhm.
make sure we do a podcast. Right.
Perfect.
All right, Kirsten. It was good to catch up with you. Keep doing what you're doing. Have since the board changes, do you feel as though you have a different level of to take this to the next level? Because I think that was what you were trying to get done, right?
Yeah, and I guess to say very, very happy with how much I think Paul Cox and David Williams really tried to give to the company. But I think that we have known that we had to make some changes just to be compliant with NASDAQ regulations. We really need, especially that audit expertise that Tom Wilkinson specifically is providing, and Grant Duthie to chair the governance committee is really, really critically important. And now that we do have these new directors with that skill set and with these experiences that they have, I think that we are now really able, and of course, we're going to continue to add to the board and we're going to continue to round out the Hydrograph team. But I could not be happier really with our progress.
To be clear, because this is something that is a red flag for the like the high net worth guys.
Mhm.
You don't plan on staying the chair, the president, and the CEO.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm happy that we're talking about this. That is really just because we have two new directors,
Yep.
and that's a big change, especially for a small company. And I think internally, it probably makes more sense than for people that are viewing us from the outside. I understand that that doesn't always have the best appearance. This is really only to create stability. I have no intent to stay chair. I don't
Okay.
think I should be, you know, you shouldn't be your own boss in that regard. So, and also it doesn't look good for NASDAQ. So absolutely, whether it's one of our current directors, whether we source someone new, just because Tom is the chair of the audit committee, ideally we have, fully independent chair come in for the board itself. And so we're looking at all options. And again, this is a temporary solution.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. One thing I do want to emphasize, so you are actively looking, you're trying to get to the NASDAQ like in maybe first, second quarter of next year, right?
Um, Ideally first quarter, and we do have confidence that that's possible. Again, I always want to clarify it has to be timed with our commercial traction. So we will be always revising this as we go. But while we haven't engaged someone formally yet, we are reviewing everything at the board level, and especially because of this, lift that we've seen to the share price, we actually have now kind of reduced that time just because there's a few benefits that we have by hitting some of these metrics that they look for.
So that's something else for the potential CFO and the COO to take note of, right? Because I would think the CFO would be very involved in that whole NASDAQ process.
For the CFO, of course, goes without saying, it's critically important that this person has that NASDAQ reporting experience. We must have that. We
Right.
really need a proper capital markets person. The COO, I see that as more internal,
Yeah.
um, and so that's not exactly critical in that role.
Right. The CFO, I'm just trying to push on that CFO button, trying to get these guys, if you're listening,
Mhm.
right? There is a timeline here. They're trying to stick to it. So give them a call. All right, Kirsten, you have a fantastic weekend and we will talk to you soon. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for
Thank you.
tuning in to another CEO interview here at Alpha Wolf Capital. Today we had Kjirstin Breure from Hydrograph Clean Power, ticker symbol HGRAF. I hope you liked today's interview, and if you did, do us a favor, give us a like. How about giving us a share? And while you're at it, make sure you smash that subscribe button. All of those things are extremely important to us here at Alpha Wolf Capital, and we appreciate you taking time to do that. Until next time, stay safe. Alpha Wolf Capital wishes you the very best of success.